Oh, hey, folks. Thanks for tuning into the BAM podcast, the Ghost Show edition of it. We are here with Colm Lundberg, who wrote one of many essays. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Joining us below from a nuclear fallout bunker is Mr. Christopher McLaughlin. How you doing, Chris?
I'm just happy to have human contact. It's been a rough couple of months hearing my voice bounce off these cinder block walls. It's been very sanity. So it's wonderful to be with good friends.
Maybe we should clarify to the audience: Chris is not being held captive. That is where he works during the day at a school there in Virginia.
Not that we know of anyway, but you never know. And listen, I appreciate you guys. It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys bending time to have me at European time as opposed to your regular USA evening slot.
Hey, no worries. Now I've got to play a very brief video musical intro, which establishes that we are a professional, high production values podcast to be taken seriously. So just 1 second, fellas. Every time. I like that. Okay, so we are here to talk about Transgressive Horror Kickstarter, which has 2 hours left to go. It's I will share the page real fast. This is an essay of an anthology of essays about horror movies, and we have funded. We are over our goal. It was a nail biter, which is probably appropriate given the subject matter, but here we are, racing to the finish. And Colm, let's talk just briefly about your essay in the book is about the horror classic, The Exorcist. Oh wait, we have a last minute addition. Abe Smith is also an author. Is popping in. Let me add him in. Hey, how you doing, sir?
Hello. I think describing me as an author is slightly over-egging the pudding, but that's okay. But yeah, we'll carry on.
Oh, all right. We got 2 hours left on the Kickstarter. Let me unmute Chris so he can say hi.
Hello.
You're actually seeing Chris's.
So hear from you again. It seems like it's.
Hey. I think we might have lost Chris's video there for a second, so we will soldier on. Aid, what was your essay in the Transgressive Horror anthology?
I was talking about the John Carpenter's The Thing, the technical remake of the 50s version, which is not quite the same. But yes, The Thing.
Understood. Well, hey, let me get that trailer queued up. Colm, he wrote about the. Oh, hey, Sean Barry is here. Hey, Sean, good to see you in the comments, sir, and thank you very much. Colm, you wrote about The Exorcist.
Yep.
This movie scared the hell out of me when I was a kid, and I dated more than one Catholic girl who was obsessed with this film growing up. Hey, Chris is back. Chris, you've returned.
Yes. It's weird. It's like something keeps separating Aid and I on podcasts. I couldn't even begin to speculate. But it's good to be with
Supernatural, Chris. It's supernatural.
That's it. It's the Exorcist curse.
All right. Well, hey, I'll tell you what, Colm, I am going to share the trailer for The Exorcist with the sound off, and while that's playing in the background, you can kind of talk us through your interest in this movie and.
Sure. Oh, wait. So I guess what really kind of I'm not a big fan of like shock horrors or loud noise horrors or slasher flicks. I don't like being experienced by the medical procedures that are imposed upon Reagan, the real horror experienced by the family unit that's there. Every character in that has some personal pain or some personal horror that they're trying to work through and that they're trying to process. And for me, that really matters more in the context of being a film that really stays with you, that really frightens you, and that really kind of gets to the core of your gut and just kind of pulls on those strings, which make you realize, my God, there's some scary stuff out there, really, really frightening stuff out there, and it kind of lingers with you, those kind of films. I think, for me, much more than, a loud noise scares me, sure, but a film that embeds itself into your consciousness and makes you think differently is really where it's at.
That's a pretty interesting take on it. I know I remember reading an interview with someone from the Catholic Church a few years back, and they emphasized how important it was to try to rule out the possibility of mental illness and when it came to exorcisms. It was back in the 80s or 90s when there was a surge of interest in the subject again, maybe because of this movie even. So
Yeah, maybe. I attended an exorcism once when I was about 15 or 16. My parents are both strong Catholics and they're very involved in the church, and I went along to an exorcism to assist a priest. It was a very strange atmosphere, but I didn't see anything that wasn't necessarily explainable. But again, it was still very frightening. It really was.
that's really intense. I always thought this movie as being kind of a cousin to Amityville Horror. Just in that came out in the same time frame. They were both kind of had that satanic panic flavor that was really popular in the Midwest of America when I was growing up.
Yeah. I think they're two slightly different films, and it's a very good analogy because obviously Amityville is based in around a real story and based around kind of an episode that happened in real life as well. And about a possession on a house, and there could be a theory that energy it can't be created or destroyed; it just shifts form. So there could be a thing that an explosion of energy, like an emotional situation, as happened in Amityville, could linger and just be interpreted in a way that we don't quite understand. But whatever the basis of it, I think they're slightly different maybe than The Omen and the other kind of satanic movies that were popular around the time, and there was a rake of them because they're beginning to move from your child is the Antichrist, or you're the Antichrist, or you're Satan, into well, actually, these things happened in reality, and there's a basis of real fact around these movies. So they're happening on your doorstep, or they could be happening on your doorstep. So I think that's an interesting shift at that time.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, Chris, you have a question you usually like to ask at this point in the interview. Gonna unmute you. Hey, Chris, you're live now.
Oh, excellent. I'm not sure what I can do to follow that. Well, listen, I'll say so. It's not really a question, but I just really have to give a lot of credit to Colm because he's one of those writers that on this project that pitched a film that has, it's been commented on and researched.
We seem to have lost Chris again. I'm sorry about that. Well, Chris is often asked a follow-up question in his interviews, and he asked, what would be your second pick for a movie if you weren't going to write about The Exorcist?
I suppose my second pick would be probably be The Shining. And I think The Shining is one of those kind of is one of those movies which is interesting as it evolved as a movie. I mean, even the male female lead, the fact that she didn't know what was going to happen during the famous axe scene, and her terror and her fright was real. There was a lot of things happening around the set which kind of led to a kind of more real performance. But again, the Shining is interesting because the actual, the central. The power, for want of a better term, that the book of the film is named after, The Shining, the telepathic link, is less important than the mental health deterioration of Jack Nicholson's character. He slowly goes insane, been locked in this place, and maybe it's the pressure of the hotel, maybe it's the ghost and the possession, but whatever it is, the central story is about isolation and mental deterioration to the point of violent insanity. That's kind of the core, and everything happens around that again. So I think that would be my second choice if I was to make one, just purely on the basis that it's a study of psyche as much as it is a study of a possessed location.
Interesting. Welcome back, Chris.
Yeah,
good to have you back, sir. Hey, moving on. Aid, you did John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, well, I keep getting kicked out. So
All right, well, we'll try to soldier on, and I will get the trailer up for The Thing. Aid, so what spoke to you about this movie? Why was it appealing to you to do an essay about?
Okay, so whereas Colm has said lots of incredibly insightful things about The Exorcist, this is just a bloody horrible film. It's basically, even watching it in the last 6 months to write this essay, it's still disgusting. It's still horrible. But those effects are practical effects, and that's why I love it. It's the effects that said it to me. It's the whole, like, right, what are we doing today? Well, we're doing this thing where this guy's head's going to break into 7 pieces and the tentacle's going to fly out. Right, how are we going to do that then? I just love the way that they think outside the box to try and solve the problems to get this stuff on the actual film. And that's why I decided to pick The Thing. It gets increasingly more disturbing the more you go up further up the actual alien manifestations, the stuff that they put inside it is just the wrong shade of green to be not vomitable when you see it. It's just amazingly cool, and that's why I like the film. You muted, Mike.
Sorry, I do that sometimes. Well, cool. Yeah, this has always been a favorite of mine. This was the first time where I met that character, the actor whose name I am blanking on. What's his name?
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Kurt Russell. Yeah. Snake Plissken.
Exactly. It's one of the films because obviously I saw these films kind of out of sequence in release sequences. So you see stuff like Escape from New York and stuff like this, and you go back and go, it's the same guy, and then you realise it's also in other films you've seen before, like Big Trouble in Little China. Come on, it's the same guy here. This is insane. But the film is just horrible, basically, which is great.
All right. If you're going to pick another film for this anthology that was not The Thing, what would you have written about?
Oh, crikey. See, this is... I honestly don't know. I watch a lot of horror films, but I honestly cannot think of anything off the top of my head that just strikes me as much as this film. It's I know there's one. I can't look for life of me what it is. But it's basically it's a British horror film, and it's kind of got like a very kind of Lovecraftian thing to it, which is it's very, very low key, and it just slowly builds up to like revelations of stuff going on in this church. That would be the one, but I cannot for life of me remember what it's called. But yeah, The Thing was, as soon as Chris said we're doing horror films, The Thing was the first one that jumped into my head.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's another movie, much like The Exorcist, one of those 80s horror movies that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. Hey, Chris, you're back.
Can I ask you a question, Aid, if you don't mind? Sorry for hijacking your show there, Mike. Are you a Harryhausen fan?
I am a massive Harryhausen fan. Yes,
I figured. Just when you were talking about the practical effects there, I mean, when you're talking about that kind of thing, it automatically made me think of the Sinbad movies and those kind of the Harryhausen effects, those kind of animatronic, superb. Absolutely love it. I totally get where you're coming from The Thing. That's right.
It's just the idea of like, it's not as though it's like, oh, we'll keep it easy. We'll make it so we just see like a shadow in the corner and something will whip out and kill somebody. It's like, no, we want full exploding dogs and stuff. It's like they go full a whole hog and they actually do something about it. So yeah, I just love it. It's just such a insightful, incredibly cool way of doing things. And as we've seen, CGI stuff to me is still nowhere as near as good as some of that stuff, because there's always just a slight different coloration or just something that just doesn't sell it as well as actually literally tearing the arms off of someone in real life, and that's as easy as that.
Yeah, I just watched the Jungle Cruise trailer. It came out a couple hours ago, and my first thought was, well, it looks like Pirates of the Caribbean. My second thought was, why don't they just make a big mega franchise called people fighting CGI stuff? Because it seems like what it's moving towards.
Yeah, it's the newer films that come through, the less and less I watch of them, purely because of the CGI stuff. If I don't know it's CGI and it's kind of hidden away, then if they put a background, that's fine. But when you start seeing stuff like the Justice League stuff, and it's like destroyed buildings and stuff, there's always this inkling of like, this isn't real, and I can tell it's not real. It's just slightly off somewhere, and that just annoys me.
Okay, but with practical effects, I mean, don't you have the same feeling where it's not quite real?
Well, yeah, but it is physically there. It's there if you want, a tentacle whipping out or whatever. Even if you do it in like reverse, it's still physically being dragged along the floor, just in the opposite direction. And the idea of like having so many puppeteers kind of pushing stuff through body parts and heads, popping out and eyes gouged. It's just like, that's just so cool.
No, Roger Ebert actually agreed with you. He was reviewing a CGI movie from a few years back, and he was like, "Yeah, it looks flawless in a way that kind of takes the heart away from it for me."
Yeah.
Because, imagining the guys building the puppets and engaged in the craft of, making the illusion was a lot of the experience for him.
Because you also don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. You also get like, if you're doing like a blood explosion or something else, and it goes, that's kind of like a unique thing. It's not a predetermined thing. I know you get the random generators and all this CGI stuff, but it's like, hey, we didn't expect to do that, and it turned out to be really cool. We'll keep that in, and I just love that stuff. Anything that's hands-on, that's the kind of stuff I really like.
I kind of like with this movie how we were talking about Alien the on one of the previous Ghost shows, and you mentioned how they play it real close to the vest. You hardly see the monster at all.
Yeah.
In that one, and I like how in this one they go completely the opposite direction. You see everything. There's no doubt exactly what it looks like, and granted that changes from scene to scene, but interesting contrast.
Yeah, and they, I mean, even modern day stuff. I mean, this is the thing. You get like something like, say, like Cloverfield or something like that, which is again, you've got CGI. You can effectively make a 40-foot, 50-foot monster. They still will hide it away behind buildings, and you're thinking, why have you spent the money to do the CGI for this if you're not going to show the damn thing? At least with Kong versus Godzilla, at least they're punching the crap out of each other. So at least you've got your money's worth in that respect. But it's such a shame to do all these cool effects and just go, you just see stuff in the shadows and it's not, spooky. It's like, no, you gave me. If I want tentacle monsters, I want to see tentacle monsters.
Fair enough. Yeah, just watched Kong versus Godzilla. Strike That, Reverse It a couple months ago at the wife's urging because she loves those kind of movies, and it was okay. It seemed a bit much, but if I could just get a cut of the movie to cut out all the people and it was just giant monsters bashing each other, I think that'd be about 15 minutes long and a lot more enjoyable. But yeah, I thought it was all right.
Do you remember the 1980s game Rampage?
I do. That was fun.
Yeah, it reminded me about that.
Yeah, I think that might have been intentional too. But yeah. And I'm glad to see the girl from Stranger Things getting work. I just wish she had more to do in that. So, but anyway, we appear to have lost Chris. So whatever lives in that basement got him. And, I thought we could just wrap things up. Do you guys have any closing thoughts other than please back the Kickstarter? And the address is right down there at the bottom of the screen.
Just to say thanks to Chris and yourself, Mike, as well. Thanks for pulling all this together and pulling the anthology together. It was a pleasure to work on, and I hope there's more things down the line. Okay, well, thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you, sir. Hey, how about you? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, exactly same. It's I so rare I get to write about this kind of stuff. I've done I write RPG stuff and this kind of stuff, but the idea I get to analyze stuff, films, and just what I love about it is really, really cool. So hopefully, if stuff flourishes off and we get some more anthologies, I am so looking forward to writing some more stuff, more about these films. I have now got a list of stuff coming up. It's like, okay, well, I might do this next time. I might do that next time. So yeah, this was really enjoyable. I really did enjoy it. So yeah, thanks to everybody, Chris especially, for letting me get involved.
There has been talk of a sequel. I know.
Yes.
Chris is talking to a few folks at the Horror Writers of America Union, and they were really impressed with this. And,
which is fantastic. Exactly. That's what I wanted to hear. I was glad that the Kickstarter is obviously funded now, so we're getting that way. Obviously, anything pushes it along. But the idea that we were actually getting recognition outside of the Kickstarter verse was really, really nice and very, very, very encouraging as well. So it's like, yeah, people need to read this book. People need to see this. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the actual release of it. Yeah, it should be very exciting. I know there's been some stray talk about sequels. I don't know if they'll happen. The podcast I was on with Chris, he started talking about it'd be great to do a Vansploitation anthology, which I think was a joke. I suspect if we do it, it'd be not horror movies again or something. I could think of blaxploitation stuff straight off the top of my head. Anything with Pam Grier in it would be it would be perfect straight away. You'll have to forgive me for mumbling. I meant to say Vansploitation. Oh, what's Vansploitation? There was a very brief flowering of this genre in late 70s American cinema that really latched on to the affection people had for vans and CB radios. This is where you got BJ and the Bear and Convoy,
Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit would be good. It would be a pretty narrow volume, I think. I think by the time you've done about 8, you've pretty much covered that genre.
Featuring Burt Reynolds.
Yes, anything featuring Burt Reynolds. Yeah, in the mid 80s, that would do the job.
Cannonball Run, etc.
Cannonball. Yeah.
There were a few very specific movies, mainly aimed at drive-ins, that were all about the hero and his van going on adventures, and sort of the same Smokey and the Bandit model transplanted over to vans. So yeah, anyway.
There was a TV show in the 90s, maybe late 90s, called 18 Wheels of Justice. And it was literally about a guy and his 18-wheeler going around saving the day. And I was like, it was the worst TV show I've ever seen. 18, what a great name, though. 18 Wheels.
Yeah, that is a great name for a show, yeah.
They were trying so hard with some of those shows to sort of transplant that old Western TV show model into the modern day. And Knight Rider was another one. You know, he's a stranger going from town to town solving problems. Except it's David Hasselhoff in a Trans Am solving problems and becoming very popular in Germany for unknown reasons. It's I don't know if it ever quite worked, but they sure did try. So, but yeah. Anyway, please back to Kickstarter and 2 more hours, so you can still get on the fun, and hopefully lots more coming from this. So thanks to all our listeners and viewers. Chris, I hope you're watching. Sorry you kept getting kicked out. And thanks again to Colm and Aid. And we will catch you folks next time on the Ghost Show.